Um, I'm going to get started. Welcome, everybody who is joining us here today. My name is Erica. I'm with Quest Travel Adventures, and I am joined by PBS host and Irish tenor Michael Londra.
Hey
And we're
everyone.
here today to talk about Ireland with Michael Vacations and getting all of you lovely people to Ireland in 2025. Thank you, Michael, for joining us today.
You are so welcome. I'm always amazed that when you're making a TV show and you kind of show off what you love and what you're passionate about. I'm always surprised and delighted that so many people are interested and who love our show, and also to the people who have come on our vacations, because we've been and most people don't know we've been doing vacations, Ireland Mike vacations, for about 10 years now. And
Really?
it's a big passion of mine. I do a lot of things, um, but this subject and the whole area of highlighting what's great about Ireland is something that I'm very passionate about, obviously.
Excellent. Well, there is a chat box for everybody who's joining us if you want to have some questions. We'll take questions at the end, but otherwise, let's join right in. Michael has curated six tours, excuse me, for next year, going all over Ireland. We'll be starting in May with our 40 Shades of Green tour. We'll be headed to Dublin for the Iowa versus Kansas football game in August. And then in September and October, going from the south up the Atlantic Way and into Northern Ireland. So, a lot of different opportunities to travel, a lot of great tours, depending on kind of what your main interests are, and all designed by Michael, with Ireland in mind, and with some special opportunities on each tour. Um, so the first thing I'd like to do, Michael, is just play a little clip from your show that shows off some stuff, and then we can talk a little bit more about these tours.
Sure.
Exposed to the tumultuous Atlantic, Ireland's west coast has some of the Emerald Islands' most stunning scenery, but the cliffs of Moher may just be the pièce de résistance. Reaching up 700 feet above the sea, there's truly something inconceivable about these cliffs, which is exactly what made them the perfect filming location for the Cliffs of Insanity in The Princess Bride. Now, I wouldn't recommend anyone try climbing its sheer face, but the views on the hike up top are truly breathtaking. Why not go where the nobility went and visit the Powersport Estate, a large country escape of 47 acres of gardens from the grand house from the 13th century. This place was so coveted by the Wingfield family, English marshals of Ireland, that they spent years trying to draw its owner, Phelim O'Toole, into an act of rebellion, the penalty for which would be forfeiture of all his land to them.
Excellent. So we have six different itineraries, excuse me, as I said before. And you can see from the maps at the top of this that we're really taking you all over Ireland, from the south, the middle, east coast, west coast, and north. Ireland's known for its beautiful landscapes, from the Sleevely Cliffs in the northwest, Giant's Causeway in the northeast, Ring of Kerry in the southwest, Cliffs of Moher, as you just highlighted. Michael, do you have a favorite outdoor area of Ireland that you like?
I do, but it changes. Ireland, I don't know if you know how small it is as an island. It's the size of Indiana, to give you some perspective. But in that tiny little island is compacted so many amazing, incredible sights. Be you in the middle of the heartlands with mountains and lush greenery, or you're on the west coast with craggy rocks, or you're on the southeast coast with beautiful, gorgeous sandy beaches. And so every time I go, like I can go to any area. Let's start with Slieve League up in Donegal, the highest cliffs in Europe, and truly dramatic and exciting to see for the first time. But every time you go there, depending on the weather, it changes what you see. In Ireland we call it the light and the half light. And so I have a different experience every time in every place. In the southeast, I love to take people to, my favorite beach, Curracloe in the world, which is a long sandy beach. It's where Saving Private Ryan was filmed, by the way. Or Hook Lighthouse. Again, the lighthouse kind of changes with the weather, and everything also is an emotional experience. It all depends on who you're with, and to be in the moment and enjoy those experiences. So I can't give you a favorite. I'd be in trouble with every other county if I told you that one area was my favorite.
Excellent. Well, there definitely is a lot to see, and certainly every single tour that we have goes to one of those coastlines. So, as diverse as they are, there's a lot of coast and interior to take advantage of. I'm going to show another clip from your show just to talk a little bit more about the experiences.
Sure.
There's one story you won't want to miss, and it all begins at this 15th century tower house, once the keep of Achill's most famous and most feared resident. Grace O'Malley, described by her English enemies as a woman who hath imprudently passed the part of womanhood, is today most popularly known as the Pirate Queen. With 3 galleys at her command, she began an epic pirate enterprise, raiding coastal towns and plundering or taxing passing vessels.
So today, you're going to go through the process,
Okay,
and I'm going to show you how to make it the original way.
right, because let me tell you, I do make one or two back in the US.
Do you make them or drink them?
Well, whatever it takes.
This is the important.
Yeah,
We get our whiskey,
right.
and I'm going to measure. Now, the only thing about Ireland is,
Yeah, well, no one's looking.
bend the elbow.
Right?
This is just over the back of the spoon.
Now, right there, we were seeing one of the unique experiences that we talk about on each one of your tours. You're sharing with us a unique experience, whether it is making Irish coffee, whether it's going to the Balik pottery, whether it's going to taste some whiskey at the Jameson Old Middleton Distillery, or gin now, or hurling. Tell us a little bit about how you picked these experiences and what that means to you.
When you're picking an itinerary, people come to Ireland expecting to see the greenery and the castles and the cliffs. But what they don't expect is that connection with, I believe, our greatest assets. Ireland's greatest asset is its people, its artists, and its craftspeople. So I always make it my priority to have those human connections for everybody. So in every place that we visit, let's talk about a distillery. My favorite distillery, and it's now very very difficult to say which is my favorite whiskey, but my favorite distillery is Ballykeefe, which is down in County Kilkenny, and I go there because it's a unique experience. It's a single estate whiskey that's made in the distillery. So everything that goes into that bottle of whiskey is made on that farm. And the people on my tours get to meet the farmer. They get to meet the people who create the whiskey. And they go all around the farm. They see how everything is made. And then the best part, they get to taste it. But to elevate that experience, I bring in, because I'm a singer, because of the TV show, I'm very lucky. I know every famous musician and singer. I know every non-famous musician and singer or dancer, and I get them to come. So I know a load of musicians that live very near the Ballykeefe distillery, and we create that unique little moment where people are tasting that local whiskey. They get to meet local musicians. In my hometown, I get to, we stay in a beautiful hotel in Ferrycarrig, which is just outside my hometown of Wexford. And you don't only get to stay in that hotel, you get a unique experience. I bring in a group called Kjol Tori Mona. Um, young artists are the future of Ireland, and I want you people to experience what young artists, the reasons that they love Irish music. So you get to meet all of these kids from 7 or 8 years old, right up to 18, who are learning traditional music. So you get to close up see uilleann pipes, fiddles, flutes, banjos, accordions. The only kids' interests here in the US you'll hear will be hip hop, probably, or pop music. But in Ireland, they love traditional music. And it creates it's a very informative evening, but also it has a load of heart to it, because you'll be able to go home and share your experiences, not of just the country, but of the very soul of the country, and that's its artists. And it's a priority for me in every tour to create those moments for you.
You mentioned that you picked this specific hotel in Wexford
Yeah.
because you feel it has. Tell me a little bit about how you picked some of the other hotels.
Oh, very good. Well, again, because of the TV show and because I've done 10 years of tours now, again, a small country, I have seen every single and stayed in every single decent hotel in Ireland. That is no mean feat. I'm particular about these hotels. I want to make sure that they're comfortable, but above all, it has to have that service, that warm Irish welcome, that makes people feel special. You know, it's people want luxury, but they want a connection more. They want to feel like they're experience what real Ireland is. And that's what I kind of, in my kind of decisions for hotels, it will always be about that, the people, and feeling loved and welcomed. And so I'm particular about that.
Very nice. I'm going to show one more clip from your show here just to talk about a little bit something special.
Yeah.
Behind me is the actual hulking skull of Valerian the Black Dread, built for the groundbreaking world phenomenon TV show Game of Thrones. For the enormous production, they built hundreds of sets across 3 countries, but Northern Ireland is the one true home of Thrones. Now, an epic studio tour has been opened on the site where 30% of all filming took place. And Valerian here is just one of the thousands of authentic exhibition pieces you can see while visiting. All right, I'll admit, I'm not exactly here for the history. Out back, the old mill house has been put to excellent use. That's right, as a distillery, making Farcullen whiskey. And what a whiskey it is. I've just learned a new way to drink.
There you go.
That's delicious.
This is really delicious.
Hookhead Peninsula juts out into the Atlantic like a finger pointing away to land. Here we find my old school friend Owen Colfer. See right out to the ocean. Owen's Artemis Fowl series of books have sold over 25 million copies, and you might have seen the Disney blockbuster movie. But he grew up with his 4 brothers on this bit of land. Behind me is...
Excuse me. So, Michael, we just saw you meeting your old school friend, Owen, there.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the other friends we made along the way. You told us about the music experience in Westford. I remember seeing a sequence about Hannah's hats in Donegal that I just absolutely loved, but you're meeting people who are your friends.
Yeah. I'm actually, hilariously, I'm wearing a Hannah's hat. I'm wearing a Hannah cap. I uh, over the years have developed all of these friendships with people because of the TV show, and because that we're touring the country so much now over the past 10 years. And I think I said earlier, Ireland's greatest asset is its artists, its creators, its musicians, its sculptors, its leather makers, its tweed makers, its singers, dancers, and they're the people we highlight in the show. And so I want you to be able to see up close how all of this happens. Hannah Hats are in Donegal town, so whenever we hit the northwest of Ireland, I have a big love for Donegal. I think there's a story around every corner, and I bring everybody in. I have about 20 of these caps. I see the master the mastery of creating these caps, handmade from tweed. And so I want you to kind of have a look and see what Irish people do. There's another place that I love to take people to in Gregnamana, again in County Kilkenny, a beautiful town, by the way, right on the water. And there's an old mill there. And in that old mill, they've been creating wool for over 300 years. And there's a family there who've done that same job through generations for hundreds of years, the cushions. And my house is completely covered in their gorgeous blankets that they make there. I think that there's nothing as cool as meeting the people, seeing what they do close up, and taking that connection that you make home. It's all very well to say you went to the Cliffs of Moher and you saw the cliffs, but you can't take the cliffs with you. And also, you can't take that human connection that that creates a memory. And that's what you're going to be talking about to your friends and your relatives when you go back to the US, is that time you met a farmer who farms up beside the Cliffs of Moher, or that time you met the person who weaved a blanket and look, here's the blanket. That kind of connection makes a vacation very special. And I pride myself in getting those moments for people. Yes, you went to Ireland for the castles. Yes, you went for the scenery, but you brought home all of these lovely human memories.
And it's important to note that on each one of your tours, you meet with the group, you get to know them, you even do a special performance for them.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of doing, yes, the show is very popular and I'm very grateful for that. And obviously, when we're doing so many tours, I can't go on every tour and be there all the time. But what is the point of me wanting to share my Ireland with people if I'm not there? So I make sure I show up for all of my tours, and I give people that time and the attention that they deserve. I also want to create a kind of a very special night. It's probably the most special night of the vacations, in that we'll go and have dinner together. And then I've always arranged a mini little concert, our own VIP concert, where I bring in my musicians, my friends, be they very famous, and some of the vacation groups have got to be there when we film for the PBS show with great artists. But just as special are those artists that nobody knows. If anything, we get more emails about those people than anybody else, because you're going to get something that nobody else gets, and it's your private concert, and it creates something that's very beautiful, where you get up and dance and sing, laugh a lot. But obviously, with us being Irish, there might be a few tears as well, because God knows we love a bit of misery in Ireland.
Well, for those of you who haven't yet seen Michael perform, here is just a quick sneak preview of one of his performances.
Waters wide, magnet from soon, neither I wings to fly. Give me a that will carry through, and both shall know my love.
So, thank you for joining us. For any of you who have questions, Ireland at questtraveladventures.com is the best place to email. It's exciting. We're going to be taking these 6 tours. Our average group size is about 20. There's a lot of inclusion in each one of these packages, whether it's meals in special places, invitations to hang out with Michael, meet some of his friends, do various experiences. Um, let's just see if we have some questions out here. So you said, Michael, you had a favorite distillery. Do you have a favorite whiskey today?
Today, I do love that Ballykeefe pot still. It's particularly spectacular. Um, if you could call this an everyday whiskey, there's a lovely new whiskey called Cullen. I think we kind of touched on it earlier, and it's made in Powerscourt in that great grand house next door. There's an old mill there, and so if you're looking to buy yourself a nice little treat, I would go for the Cullen, Fercullen, gorgeous. Obviously, if you've loads of money, then it would be without a doubt Middleton Rare or Middleton Rare.
um,
Um,
Michael,
yeah,
you want to tell us a little bit about going north and what's special about Northern Ireland?
oh, about the north. You know, in truth, visiting the north for me over the past, getting to know it over the past 7 or 8 years has been very special because when I was growing up, we couldn't go to the north. So the north is only blossoming now as a tourism destination. And let me tell you, it is stunningly beautiful. The northern coast there, it's so spectacular. The Dunluce Castle, I particularly love. Also Bushmills. But all along from Portrush, the scenery is spectacular, and you end up in the city of Derry and then Donegal. Like for me, that part of the world, we could do 100 episodes on County Donegal alone. It is stunningly beautiful and still kind of not overrun with tourists yet. Yeah, head north.
So that northern tour is in October of next year. We had a question about the football game and what's included, and we do include a ticket in the football
We
game
do.
packages.
Go
So
Cyclones.
you'll be able to go to go to Aviva Stadium and see Iowa and Kansas State play. I think that just about wraps up the questions here. Michael, thank you so much for being here with me today. How do we sign off Irish style?
Well, there's two ways. The way to say goodbye is SLA with a line over the AN. Slán. Slán.
Slow.
But really, probably the best way is to say cheers to somebody. Sláinte. If only I had a glass. Sláinte.
Well, I'll see you in Ireland, Michael Slancha.
Take care. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks everybody for being here. Slancha.